Who's the person that you care about the most in this world? Name me one.
My mum.
Yeah. So if someone came and took your mum and put her on a cloud in the sky, and the only way that you could see her again is if you built a tower high enough to be able to bring her back down or to be with her again, would you wake up tomorrow and wonder why you, or would you get building?
What would you say to anybody that's grieving now, that's going through that process? One of the things that we can all guarantee in life is that the people that we love, some of them are going to pass away before us, and we're going to have to deal with that process. As somebody that has spent an awfully long time sat in the saddle of a bike, sat in a hospital ward, reflecting on grief, what do you wish that you'd known? Or what would you tell other people?
I'm going to try and smile when I speak about this. It seems like a crazy thing to say, right? One thing that is certain in this world is everyone that's born is going to die. That means that every single person on this planet is going to experience some form of grief. I've never been a person to run away from those emotions. And I never believe that it gets easier. People always say grief gets easier. I believe that the circle of grief always stays the same. I just believe that we grow stronger around it. I would always advise people to talk about the loved ones that they've lost. I would always encourage people to settle into every single emotion that they're feeling and not try and hide it or not try and run away from it. I would say to people that, you know what, even though your grief is painful and even though your grief hurts, it can also be the most beautiful time of your life, the most beautiful moments that you have left. Because all the pain that you're feeling now is because of beautiful memories of the person that you love and the person that you've lost. I think that my grief has become a part of my life. And like I say, I've never tried to run away from it. I've never tried to compress it. I don't even wish that it's not there, because I am quite happy and settled in grieving for the rest of my life. Because I know that I grow stronger every single day around that grief. I know that within my grief is my purpose. I know that within my pain is my power. I know that from my struggle, I found my strength. And I don't think people should hide that. You know, one thing that I do, I remember going on a run the other day, yeah, and it's this like circuit, and I went to this circuit where people run, it's like a 5-mile loop. And everyone's like, oh, how far are you running today? 5K, whatever. I said, 30 miles. So 30K, and no, 30 miles. And I went to this tackle shop because it was by a lake fishing. And I said, I'll leave my bags here. He said, oh, I'm about to shut up in a minute, sorry. And then he said, he asked if I was running. And I said, yeah, 30 miles. He goes, 30 miles? And I went, yeah. And I told him a little bit about the journey. And anyway, I started running. I was about 2.5 miles in. No, I was about 2 miles in. And I thought, shit. I told him I was running. I told him why I was running. But I didn't tell him my daughter's name. And I turned back and I ran 2 miles back. Yeah, as fast as I could. Just as he was about to lock up. And I went, by the way, mate. He went, what? I went, my daughter's name's Azalea. And he went, beautiful name. And I went, yeah, thanks. And then I went back and did my run. I ran 2 miles extra just because I had to run back and tell him my name. That's because that's important to me. I think it's important to also normalize this topic of grief. We're all going to experience it. So the subject shouldn't be taboo. Just like mental health, you know, grief can fall into that category. People talk about anxiety, people talk about depression. Grief falls into that. And grief causes anxiety, it causes depression. You know, the root cause of the grief is trauma. It all falls into mental health. I think it's a part that we should talk about. Because I found out, and one thing that I know now is, when people had lost somebody before, I was a criminal kind of thinking, it's really awkward to be around that person. I don't know what to say. I don't want to make them upset. I don't want to offend them. Yeah. What I find out now is those people really do want to talk about the memories they have. People do really want to say the person's name of the person they lost. People do want to reminisce and relive those good times. But it's hard to find people around them that will allow that. So not only would I say to the people that have loved them and lost that they should talk about their loved ones and not run away from it, I'd also say if you want to be a good friend or a good family member, be there for that person to listen to. Most of people's mental health issues, or a lot of people's mental health issues, these days, is because they have no self-worth. I believe they have no self-confidence, especially men. I believe that they're looking for Saturday night, going out to pick up a drink and try and find a woman to make them feel happy, rather than turning up every single day. One thing that changed about my life is I start every day the same. I wake up every single morning, that drunken man that was ashamed of himself as his daughter watched down from heaven. And what I choose to do is earn my respect every single day. And for me, from other people, that might look as being very intense. For me, it works because I go to bed every single evening and I look in the mirror and I just think, you know what? You did all right today.
What's a typical day look like for you?
A typical day. Okay. So yesterday I got up at 5 a.m. because I had to travel back from another city. I got back about 6 and then I didn't have time to have breakfast because my 2 running partners wanted to go out on a run. So I stopped off at a petrol station, got a flapjack, and we had a 20-mile run. I finished the 20-mile run and then I had to go and do my strength and conditioning session because I need to look after my body. So it's not lifting weights, it's just working on all those little shitty areas to stop you getting injuries. So I did an hour S&C there. Then I did an hour of stretching and mobility because I needed to recover. Then I went back home and I did 2-3 hours of meetings in terms of the foundation, in terms of my new book that I have coming out, in terms of a new show that I have to go on. Then I did an hour on the kayak erg, and then I went and swam 1,000 meters, and then I got back and I carried on work. What time was I up until? I think I went to sleep probably about 12 o'clock. Then I got up at 5 a.m. to get my session in before I traveled here today.